National Fire Radio.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Size Up by National Fire Radio, where what you do off the job matters. And I'm excited for this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that I have two guests today who have been guests on the mini FDIC crazy mashup episode that involved throwing cups at people and all kinds of things with my friends from Taylor's Tins. So it's always fun when we have two guests. It's just more people talking and more interviewing to try to control, which I don't feel like I do the best job of, but we'll see how that goes as well. And prior to coming on, I was talking to my guest about I just finished recording an episode and I didn't screw up the schedule, but maybe I screwed up the schedule. So I was like using that theory of like, I'm burning the candle at both ends, right? But I feel like at this point in my life, that it's not even a candle anymore. I just have a wildfire going on of just like flames all around me burning. And sure, I'm a firefighter. I'm supposed to put the fire out, right? And I'm just adding to it. Like, I think on a daily basis, I just pour more gasoline on my fire with the things I take on. And maybe that's something we're going to talk about today a little bit too, is just kind of doing too much or knowing those limits. I am going to, before I introduce them, say this is kind of a fitness episode, kind of a human performance episode. Please don't stop listening because I said this is kind of a human performance fitness episode, though, because I have gotten to talk to these folks before, and we're going to talk about a bunch of different things, I'm sure. So Travis and Cav from Dynamic Human Performance, what's happening, gentlemen?
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, so I just got done working with some military guys, and past couple weeks been working with some of the fire and police guys, so everything's been going well.
And Cav is on duty if you're watching on YouTube too, so he has kind of a uniform on, which is always, appealing to some folks that watch the show.
I'm running the back half of my 48 right now, and besides that, we have an academy that's about to graduate and finish. It's been going on for the last 4.5 months, and that's pretty exciting. Me and Travis run the physical side of that side of the house, so yeah, just excited to be here, and just bear with me. I'm a little tired from last night, but.
Well, so all right, so I didn't know which way I wanted to go first while we have you though, but you said tired from last night. So for my folks that are listening who are not involved in the emergency services, we all work different schedules, and where I happen to work here in New Jersey, a very popular East Coast schedule has 4 different shifts, and we work 24 hours on and 72 hours off. There is another shift that is popular across the country, very much more in the southern kind of region of the country, I guess is a good way to put it, where they only use 3 shifts and they work a 24 on, 48 hour off schedule. And if you listen to my friend James Gearing on his podcast, he has been against that schedule since the day he released it. And he has been the biggest cheerleader, soapbox, I don't even know what the word is when I blow him up about getting rid of that schedule. And it's actually starting to happen now, which I text him on the side. I'm like, I don't know if you had something to do with this, bro, but I think you did, and you got to feel good about it. I'll never probably, even though I just said it, like, I'll never give him the credit, but he has really been touting the problems with that schedule. So what I'm getting at with that is what those departments are doing, either going to my schedule, they're adding a 4th platoon and doing the 24/72, or they're doing what I think maybe Cav's schedule is, the 48/96, right?
Yeah.
So basically with that, you work 48 hours on and then you get 96 hours off, correct?
Yeah. So working 2 days, 06 to 06, and then 4 days off to recoup, recover, get all your stuff done. And to be completely honest, I think that I think a lot of it just really has to do with demographic. The bigger departments and the busier departments, there's no way they could work at 48/96. They would be dead after 2 years. And so I think a lot of it has to do with call volume. A lot of it has to do with, how many fire calls are you go on compared to EMS? How many are you on a ladder truck, or are you on an engine? It all kind of depends on what your role is. For the demographics that we serve, the community we serve, we run just enough to have fun and not enough to get very, very burnt out after a 96. So as wildland season kind of turns up, typically, if you catch a fire the first day and you're working for 4 or 5 hours, that's going to really be hard the second day. But most of the time we get through just fine. I know at some of the larger departments around here, they work your schedule. They work a 24/72. And I think we would love to do that eventually. It's just depending on, hiring, taxpayer dollars and stuff. Can we add another, shift? Can we add more guys to our crews in order to be able to do that? So.
Sure, and that's a big topic right now, right? And again, James will always joke with me because I was on his show again very early on that I work the Cadillac of firefighter schedules, let's say the 24/72. And for the public, when they hear, one of the first things someone says to you when you're a firefighter is like, "Oh, you have that great schedule. You only work 8 days a month, right?"
Yeah.
But those 8 days a month are 24-hour days that we're away from our family. For you, they're 48-hour days.
Yeah.
And we are only recently learning the detriments of sleep deprivation against us and our colleagues in the EMS and the police world too, and their different schedules, that we're trying to do better. So although I definitely work the Cadillac of firefighter schedules, I'm not going to lie about that. Sleep deprivation is real even for us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all hard. It's just like anybody else says, choose your heart. It's hard to go to work 5 to 7 days a week for 8-hour days. That's hard. That's not fun. You don't get as much time off as we do. It's much more monotonous, It's also hard to go pedal to the metal for 2 days straight. I mean, both are hard, so it's just kind of what works best for you. And, what are you able to, what are your capabilities and limitations? But to each one of those things, you have to do a certain amount of self-care and recovery in order to be able to function as a human. And if you're not in tune with those things, then you're going to get pretty out of sorts. So.
Oh my God, function as a human, because I've always loved to go with the day you became a firefighter, you didn't get superpowers, like a radioactive spider did not bite you and, make you Spider-Man. Like it just didn't happen. You're the same man or woman that went in and swore that oath, walked out the door. You just get to do the best job in the world, right?
Yeah.
But you have to be a human. And in my career, having grown up in this with my father before me being a firefighter and seeing all these differences about how we have to do this self-care and what's important, and even discovering the self-care for myself, right? There's things that work and there's things that don't work for me. I think that's another big part of what it is you guys are doing with Dynamic Human Performance, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You want to speak on that, Travis?
I was going to say, Travis, you can chime in anytime, because Cav and I are just going to be dumb firemen talking the whole time, and you know that, right? Like, it's even funny. We're even seated on my screen. We're seated the same as we were for FDIC, and that's kind of what happened. You just had to sit in the middle and listen to us. So you got to jump in with this.
No, I think that's what's absolutely key, especially for when you're looking at human performance, is to listen to where people are coming from and meet people where they're at. So basically, it really helps that Cav is a firefighter and is obsessed with performance. Is now he can do the best of both worlds, where he can communicate effectively to them and speak their language about, hey, it's really, really important to take care of yourself, and then implement that phrase so that you can take care of yourself, so that you can serve others. So it's basically starting a conversation with people about, like, hey, if you want to put out on your 24/48, you need to be well rested and take care of yourself and your family so that you don't have any distractions. So you're good to go.
And I love that too, because that definition of performance for a firefighter 20, 30 years ago was who could throw the most ladders, or who could get to the fire the fastest, or who could last the longest on a bottle, whatever, all these metrics that we still use today. Like, there's definitely no doubt in my mind that is a metric. But that performance that I think we're focused more now on the health and wellness end is what we talk about here on the Size Up, this off the job performance. What kind of a dad are you? What kind of a husband or a spouse are you? What are you doing? Because I know, and I've talked about this, when I first started working on the Chiefs car more in an acting position, my wife gave it about a month or two, and she was like, you better start taking naps after these car shifts, because you are not resting at all at work. I was a super ball of anxious nerves. And by the time she got home from work and the kids got home from school following shift, I was miserable to be around again.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you see it too. You see it too with. I mean, I don't want to hijack this whole conversation. It's just it's near and dear to my heart because I experienced it in the Marine Corps as well, and it's just I think it is so interwoven with men in general. It doesn't matter what you do. I worked 8 years of construction when I left the Marine Corps before I came to fire. It's the same thing there. It is such a similar pattern among different career fields, and it's because men are mostly built the same way mentally. If you are not going above and beyond to be an exceptional man, i.e., doing all the right things outside of your job, you're not going to be good at whatever you do. It doesn't matter, you know. So all the lessons and the things that we go over, the points that we make and the things we talk about, yes, it's nice to be able to be in an industry where we can talk about it now, but this is applicable for literally every single industry that you work in, you know. I see a lot of guys, and it's funny because you bring up the throwing the ladders and the sexy parts of being a firefighter. Well, we know 90% of the job's not sexy. We know that a lot of it is a bunch of BS. We know a lot of it's a bunch of mundane, you know, stuff. And at the end of the day, that if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't go out and drink the night before a shift. You can't. I'm sure that we've all done it, you know. Luckily, I gave up drinking many years ago, but
Not
you
at
know,
my age, I can't anymore, buddy.
I'm sure a lot of guys have, right? And it's just like, if you're actually trying to bring it and view yourself as a professional athlete, which you should be, you know, you're not just a professional in the conversations and the interactions you have with people, the people skills wise, you're a professional athlete, man. You're showing up to go balls to the wall for potentially hours. And if you're not doing the correct things to prepare yourself to do that, you're not actually being a professional. You're not doing the things you need to do to be good at your job, you know. And if you're not doing those things, that bleeds into other stuff too, you know. So,
and we're taking a lot of those lessons in the fire service from the Marine Corps and from the military and the things that they've learned in their time. You know, this isn't, we all watched Full Metal Jacket, and your boot camp was not the boot camp they went to in Full Metal Jacket.
No.
Now, I'm not saying your boot camp was not extremely hard and there wasn't discipline and a learning and a breaking down and building up, but it was not Full Metal Jacket boot camp, which existed.
Yeah. And like you said, with the fire service, with the Marine Corps, whatever it is, we're getting smarter, we're getting more intelligent, and it's progressing. We're inching towards a better direction, which is the end goal, you know. So
it's almost scary, right? We're doing better, and I'm afraid. Like, it's also cool to be a part of it, though, right? To know that you're kind of part of this change. And again, no one out there that I know is like, I'm going to change the fire service 100%. We're just trying to make it better, right? We're trying to make it safer.
Yeah.
And we need to do it too in this smart way, because it's not just going to happen overnight. You know, no change happens overnight. So by addressing all the issues, what shift you're working, you know, what you're doing while you're on shift, what you're doing while you're off shift, how you can do this is really individualized. And I think that's something I've learned too over my time.
Yeah. And you see some guys who they're super high strung, or they need, you know, other guys need more recovery time. It's just, all of us are so different. So yes, you're very right. And that's something we talk about a lot, is if you're whatever the blueprint is for you to be successful, for you to be a productive member of your team, whether that's at home or in the firehouse, for you to be a good man, whatever those things are, yes, it is okay to look at things that you appreciate and like that other people are doing. But at the end of the day, you have to take all the pieces that you like from everybody that you've ever learned from and make it your own blueprint. If you're trying to cut and paste these blueprints and then just follow somebody else's way, that's when it becomes unsustainable and you don't end up doing it, you know? So what works for David Goggins is not going to work for Cat. You know what I'm saying? And if I did, I would be broke after a month. So, you know, you got to figure out what works for you, what's functional for you, and what's going to get you down the road in a better place, a healthier place. And so.
Yeah,
Sorry, Travis, didn't mean to interrupt
What do you got,
you.
Travis? We saw you
No.
getting in there. We saw you trying
No,
to sneak in
you're
the
good.
fireman talk.
No, I was just going to say that, I think Cav does one of the best jobs of tinkering around with a lot of different things, and then he takes really good notes along the way of, I may read about something or hear about something that I think is new, pass along to Cav, and he's like, all right, I tried that, didn't work, toss it. What else you got? So that's why he's one of the reasons why he's seen a bunch of positive shifts in the right direction is he tries a lot of different things and he goes all in. And then contrast that with other guys where they might be drinking like 8 or 10 Cokes, like regular Coca-Colas per day. And we're just trying to get them to drink one less Coca-Cola per day. You know what I'm saying? So like everybody's at a different point, but it's trying to get this.
Are you in my DMs?
I mean, but
Have you been in my DMs the past 10 years with 555 Fitness? Because I cannot tell you. That's like my pocket piece of advice that people thought I was some kind of like, the wizard of like, hey, it's like, I don't know who you are, person online, 555 Fitness, I'm a firefighter and I'm a little overweight and I want to get in shape. And what do I do? Yeah. And again, you guys work in human performance, there's no blueprint, there's no right answer. And especially if I know nothing about you. So I would there'd be 2 challenges I would lay out. And the first one is, I don't know how much soda you drink a day, but cut that in at least half or just eliminate it. And, I think that's a really good start. Drink more water and cut your soda in at least half. And then I always went with just try to walk a mile a day for 30 days as a challenge. Yeah. But regardless, that soda trick.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, I've lost 5 or 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you have.
And that's the thing, like when we're talking about shifting culture is, I was talking to Chief Stevens, a week or 2 ago, and he was saying how, there were guys like when I first got there that had certain habits where you'd see them go out to eat, you'd see them drink regular pop, like whatever it is. And now he's telling me that, hey, we're seeing more guys bring their own meals. We're seeing guys cook. We're seeing guys who are, doing these small things, and it didn't happen overnight, and it's still not where we want it, but it's a step in the right direction. So it's encouraging to see
my shift at dinner time. My shift at dinner time calls flavored seltzer soda. Did you buy the soda? Like if you're in the store shopping, go pick up the soda, but that means flavored seltzer water that we cut with regular water.
Yeah. Yep. You're filling it with something else. Yeah.
Exactly. It's even funny that we're talking about soda. Just at FDIC, I don't know if it was the day I met you guys or the day after, but we went out to dinner, and I ordered a Coke, and Sebi, our audio video guy, was sitting next to me, and he's like, bro, I've never seen you drink soda. And I'm like, well, I drank a lot of beer last night, Sebi, so I'm going to have a soda right now just because this is my cheat meal right now. Like, this is my cheat meal right now. And can I have a water on the side too? But like, he's like, I can't believe you drink soda. And I'm like, yeah, once in a blue moon.
Yeah. Well, and that's a huge thing too. Me and Travis, we give each other a lot of shit. We give each other a lot of crap and flack, and we do it with other people too, because you got to be able to laugh about it, because we're not going to sit here and say we don't cheat. Everybody cheats. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's dabbling in something. For me, and I was going to say this earlier with the points you were talking about, I think that because you see a lot of guys where it's like the best advice you could give them is, hey, taper it down on soda, taper it down. Just start saying no to the big stuff that you're doing. But you've also got a lot of hitters in this culture who they're 95% sharpened, and they are doing so many things right. Like the amount of improvement they need to make is so hard to fine tune because they are already at the apex. And I think for those guys specifically, when you're working with those kind of teams and those kinds of individuals, like my mentality, something that I really had to teach myself, somebody who's dealt with a lot of self-control issues, as a lot of firefighters do, bad coping mechanisms, you have to learn how to tell yourself no. The culture of telling yourself yes to everything, oh, I'm bored, I'm going to eat. You have to reverse parent yourself. You have to be able to go, no, you're not. Or, hey, put the fucking phone down because it's time to sleep. We're not going to aimlessly scroll for 4 hours and screw up our sleep hygiene. You know what I'm saying? you need to go brush your teeth. Like it does, you have to do that. I have constant conversations with myself. Oh, I want the candy bar. You don't get the candy bar because you don't just get to eat candy all the time. That's not how it works. I don't want to prepare a meal for myself because I'm being lazy. Well, shut up and go prepare the meal because that's what needs to be done. And so I would just say for those hard hitters or the people who are just starting out, it doesn't matter where you're out on the spectrum. If you really want to add something important that works very well, at least for me it did, in your blueprint that isn't specific to any one person, it's just start saying no to yourself. Because if you start tracking how much you say yes to yourself, you'll be grossed out. You'll seriously be grossed out. It doesn't really matter what it is. Like, oh, I don't want to do the dishes right now. No, you're doing the dishes. Like, oh, I don't want to make my bed in the morning. You're making the bed, dude. We're doing this. We're not cutting corners. And if you start doing the inches equal feet and the feet equal miles. It all bleeds into each other. So it's a mind thing before it even becomes a body thing.
You're making me feel so normal now because there's someone else that talks to themselves about brushing their teeth. Like, bro, brush your teeth. You have to brush your teeth right now. Like,
I brush my teeth.
No, I brush my teeth every day, but I have a conversation in my head before I'm going to do it. Like, and it's interesting too because and I've said this before, like, sure, the Firehouse days are kind of cheat days for me, let's say, where like I'll have ice cream after dinner. And I don't do it all the time, but I do it way more often there than I do at my house for sure if we're out. And it's one of those things like, all right, man, I had ice cream. I had my coffee cup of ice cream because portion control is a big part of it too, not a huge bowl. And you'll find yourself some days at the Firehouse, like you have a bad morning or a bad midday and it's like 3 p.m. and I'm like, I'm having ice cream right now. It's going to make me feel better. And I get my little coffee cup and I eat ice cream and the guys make fun of me because it's like, oh, there he is, Mr. Fitness eating his 3 o'clock ice cream. But then I don't have ice cream again that night. You know what I mean? Like it's those self conversations of telling myself, no, I want to have ice cream that night when everyone else is after dinner. 100%. I want to have ice cream, but it's those self conversations that matter.
Absolutely.
Travis, do you have self conversations, or are you going to admit it on the podcast now?
No, I mean, Cav's hurting my feelings right now because he's saying, say no to yourself once in a while, and I'm over here fucking eating chips and stuff. But no, I mean, a lot of people don't see the 90% or the 95% that we do correctly, and then the other statement that I hear that cracks me up is when people say, well, you must have always had it that way, or it must be easy, or it's an overnight thing, blah, blah, blah. It's like, man, I was short and fat when I was a kid. I've had to correct a lot of things along the way to be slightly less fat, like, imagine if I had good genetics, right? So it's just the daily grind of like being present for the next thing, one step at a time, and not getting too ahead of yourself. Because, I'm sure Cav's heard it in the military where, eat the elephant one bite at a time, is like, that's a thing. Like, it can seem overwhelming, but if you just take it step by step by step, before you know it, you've eaten the elephant.
And again, I feel like you guys are like, I don't know, you know me better than not, or like you have a bug, like you stuck a bug on me at FDIC, because I have always had good genetics, right? Is what I've said. Like, I kind of weighed the same forever, no matter what I ate. And then I turned 45, and those good genetics, or my body has finally decided to be like, nah, man, it's not going to work. And I'm currently, again, it's that 5% of the work where people have always been like, oh, it's so easy for you to work out. It's so easy for this. It's so easy for that, right? I've been a pull-up king my whole life. Kipping pull-ups, muscle-ups, chest to bar, whatever you need. This recent change in my body of adding some more weight is like every workout is got a weight vest on because I put on a little bit of extra weight. And right now I am not a pull-up king anymore. I did pull-ups this morning in my workout. I did kipping pull-ups in my workout, and it was absolutely horrible. And I need to get over that part of my head, right? Because that hurt. It hurts to not be a pull-up guy anymore. It literally is hurting me inside. It hurts to have a different waist size pants. And it's not a big deal, but it is to me, right? It's not a big deal to others, and I'm not dealing with any medical issues because of it, but it's that mental end of it that I'm trying to get through successfully now. That's so hard.
Yeah, finding something new that is going to be your bread and butter. Opening up the toolbox a little bit more.
Yeah.
I got to go back to
That's a great
squatting or
point.
something more.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. So I used to be super into pull-ups too. It's one of the physical requirements for us on our annual PT test in the Marine Corps. So Marines, Army does push-ups, Marines do pull-ups, and 20 is a perfect score. So I used to do I think my max was 37 or something like that. So for the crowds I rolled in, that was pretty good. Now I try and just do 20. If I can do 20, I'm pretty happy. But it's amazing, like Travis was saying. So as the things I ran a 4:28 mile,
Okay.
I almost died the other day in academy a couple months ago when I ran a 6-minute mile. You know what I mean? I was embarrassed. But for me at my age, with how I'm progressing in my journey, that's actually okay. And so it's more about, let's not compare ourselves to what we used to be able to do. You'll never be able to do that anymore, and that's okay. But what can we get good at in the transitional period? You know what I'm saying? Like back then, I wasn't focusing on my core strength at all. I had no muscle-mind connection. I had really poor body mechanics. Well, now I'm more focused on that. I'm more focused on mobility and stretching and all kinds of other things that are going to actually, this is a marathon, not a sprint. So we want to be able to push that finish line farther. But yeah, anyway, to your point, Travis, it's get good at something else, and that creates a fun culture where you're always learning. Because if you look at people who go in the gym and all they do is the same shit day in and day out, they're really not progressing that much. They're not rounding themselves off very well. They're getting super good at one or two things, and it's like, okay, that's fine. But when you're not good at those one or two things anymore, what do you have? So.
And that's when the gym becomes a job too. When you're just doing the same thing, and in my mind especially, just doing the same thing. And it was a lot like introducing firefighters to functional fitness. You go into a firehouse anywhere in the country, there was definitely a functional fitness guy or two or girl in each station. There was definitely kind of a bodybuilder type person. There was a total zero, didn't do any fitness type stuff. But when you take that bodybuilder type person, or even the person who didn't do fitness, and say, just come along with me and try these couple of things.
Yeah.
They're excited about it because they're doing something new, just like, whatever it is. And that to me is always trying new things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
and
kind
then,
of the.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. All right. So it's kind of like. All right. So it comes down to like personality too, of like how much spice do you want on your food? Like some folks, and then how much spice do you need on your food? So some guys can do the exact same thing every day. Other dudes are going to need variety. So you need to basically do some of the same things that we need to do, but we need to think of new ways to spin it so that they stay interested. Because there's some guys where like they'll lose interest real quick. So you got to, instead of a front squat, we're going to do a front foot elevated split squat. Is there that much of a difference? Not really, but we're still getting the squat pattern we want, but we're keeping people interested because now, this is a new skill I haven't done. So, yeah, sorry, Cap, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
And that's the same as.
That's perfect.
The same as work too, where like most of us took this job because it's different every day. So why not and I'm not saying make your fitness different every day, but why not spice it up, like you said, with something different, and it's even cool on a functional fitness side. When I do traditional weightlifting, like doing like I do them with my two sons now. I'm teaching them, well, they know how to do it now, but like Arnold presses. Like, hey boys, we're just going to do like a 3x10 press or like a pyramid down of Arnold presses. And they're like, this is so much fun. And I can breathe the whole time for the most part, as opposed to like a function like an AMRAP where they're like, I can't breathe.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's getting them that kind of variety, right? And that's kind of where we're getting at, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. You have to, whether it's diet, whether it's sleep, it doesn't really matter what it is. You have to figure out a way to fall in love with it, or it will be unsustainable. It will be a miserable experience for you if you can't find a way to make it a lifestyle. And to make it a lifestyle, you have to learn how to love it. And that's why a bunch of us are really weird, messed up individuals, because you have to get a little weird. You have to get a little okay with being uncomfortable. And you have to kind of be a little self-destructive in ways, and then lean into it. Like you have to be willing to go down the paths you don't want to go down that are uncomfortable. You have to be willing to try different things, and so I would say, just to put a bow on what we were talking about earlier and wrap it up, I did say no to yourself, but in saying no to yourself, you're saying no to instant gratification. You're saying yes to delayed gratification. We are a culture of dopamine overdose patients. All we're getting is dopamine all day, and we are broken because of it. And so when you're telling yourself no, when you do finally get to the place where you're pushing through those ceilings, when you're pushing through those, man, I barely made it through today without a fucking Red Bull, but I did it. And then you gain that confidence, and you do it the next day, and you do it the next day. And maybe you don't go to the fast food restaurant, and you don't do it. And then you go once a month maybe, and you actually find out, I didn't like it in the first place. All those no's equal yeses in your life, so yeah.
It's
Anyway,
the best sex ever. That's what it comes down to.
Not trying to preach about you can't do anything at all. It's not about that at all. You can still do
all those
things
no's
now and then. Yeah.
All those no's lead to the best sex ever. Like the best feeling you can have when the yes does happen. And it can be, PRing a 5K, PRing a lift, getting a full night's sleep.
Yes.
When you're working on that, anything, because you have put in the work to get there.
Yeah,
and
people,
that's the key in all the stuff we're talking about.
The tragic thing is people don't realize how good they can feel, and it does not feel good to say I told you so. When guys come up and finally like, hey, kind of let me have the reins a little bit, and hey, I need help with my training program. All right, cool. And they start following along, doing the things I'm telling them to do, and then they're feeling better, and they'll say things like, inevitably, like, I wish I'd started this sooner. I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd done that. And they have those regrets. It does not feel good to ever be like, see, I told you so. Like, that sucks. And people are shocked how good they can feel and how many things we have control over. Like, we have a lot of control over sleep. We have a lot of control over stress management, a lot of control over exercise. There's just all these things that will make you feel exponentially better.
Well, too, and if you look back, and I've talked about this a couple times, but not in a very long time, and you guys made me think about it. When the show The Biggest Loser was on in popularity, and listen, the way that they did things, let's say training, and the way that wasn't shown on TV is one whole story for another podcast and another day. But seeing the folks who were the contestants on that show become successful, and I don't even mean taking the weight off successful, but just their ability to succeed and to understand that feeling that they could do this, and they did put in the work, and the littlest of things, and they made this show about the scale, but there's so much more than the scale, and that's what I took away from that show, and still take away now, for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of generational habits that you're trying to break and prove. Like, I was talking to my wife about this the other day. We know some families that we're friends with, and everybody in the family is large, right? And I mean, they have excess weight. Like, I'm not talking like they're big and muscular. They have excess weight. But generationally, they've only seen bad habits. Generationally, they've only seen, hey, we don't exercise. We eat a lot of processed food. And then they start to believe the myth of we're just big boned people. It's like, I doubt that's the case, because you're drinking regular Pepsi and you're eating way too much food and you're not exercising. So then when you start to spin it that way, like, hey, I have an opportunity to shift the generations to come, that may be the buy-in that you need or whatever. But we have a lot more control than we think.
Absolutely.
And that comes with that knowledge too, right? Because I'll openly admit, going back to my genetics, in grammar school and definitely in high school, I was drinking a whole boatload of soda. Like that's all I drank. I'm not even gonna like cans of soda were like going throwing them down like they were going out of style, man. If I didn't have this like psychotic metabolism that went through my body, I too would have been the short excess weight kid 100%. You know, I just happened to I kind of skated that one. And my sons are pretty much the same way with I mean they eat like crazy, and my older one just started finally putting on a little bit of weight. He's excited about it. But if they were drinking soda, they'd be fine at this point. But at some point, they won't be. And that's where you don't want to get them, right? In that generational type theory.
Yeah. And that's where you have...
Which we also see in the fire service. And Cav, you mentioned being part of the rookie. What's up?
No, go ahead, Cav. There's a... Mine's kind of delayed.
Did he freeze?
Yeah,
I was going to say somebody froze. Okay.
Right, Cav,
what were we saying?
Oh, Pip, what was your question?
Oh, well, I was going to say, like, you had mentioned being part of the recruit training class kind of now and doing the human performance of that. Is that something that your department's always done? You've done your own academy, or did you farm that out?
So I am a very inexperienced young firefighter, older in life experience. I have a lot of experience in other fields, and fortunately, a lot of the lessons that I learned that have been a huge success in the academy came from Marine Corps lessons.
Gotcha.
Learning how to lead men there, learning how to just leadership 101. Am I leading with fear or am I leading with respect? How do I get my guys to want to work for me? A lot of those questions got answered back then, and the lessons really have proven to be true because they implement very well with future firefighters who are training hard and wanting to show up and be part of the culture change. So the amount of knowledge I have in this, at least for our area, is pretty limited. But we run a combination of 4-department academy twice a year. And I would even say within the last, I mean, it's just like everything else in the fire service, the culture is changing quickly because people, and it's nice because people are open-minded. There are chiefs who are very open-minded about like, okay, this newer generation is bringing different conversations to the table that make sense. And I'm getting a lot of good feedback from my younger firefighters who want to participate in this change. And so they're starting to implement things like, Travis's company, DHP. And so Travis was actually the first academy that he helped out with, that he was hired on as, was the academy I was in. And so that was 3 or 4 academies ago. So about 1.5 years, 2 years. And it's amazing the rapid change in culture that you see. Even I would even say the quality of recruits that are coming out of academy that are going to the firehouse, the attitude's totally different because you're bringing a different atmosphere to the initial shock and awe of like, hey, this is what it means to be a firefighter now. It's not just about growing a cool mustache and, going out and getting a burger with the boys. That's not what it's about anymore. It's let's go out for 45 minutes and suffer together and see how bad you can push through your walls and how much you're willing to suffer for your team. We do this amazing workout. We've done it for a couple academies now. It's something I did in the Marine Corps, and it is a horrific workout. It's not fun at all. But the whole point is to show people you can push farther than you think you can for your team. A lot of us individually won't. Because we have fail safes in our mind that go, hey, you don't want to die. You don't want to go through this pain, so don't. And so we basically do air squats, an air squat AMRAP, where you can't take more than a second break at the top. And you go do this exercise by yourself, you're going to get about 150 in and probably quit because your legs are burning and it hurts. Yeah. I think this last academy, we had a guy get up to like 860, because he's willing. So you face all the recruits inward and they all look at each other so that they're feeding off of everybody's energy. And everybody by, 400, 500 air squats, people start really, really like, you got to go dark and get focused and start feeding off of each other. And you watch these guys start doing that and just breaking mental barriers. It's super fun to watch. It's very motivating. It's very cool. We try to do it a lot more constructively than the Marine Corps does it, where they just yell at you the whole time. But yeah, it's amazing.
right,
and then oh, sorry, go ahead.
those are those added bonuses that 20 years ago no one saw from fitness, and that even the
Right.
Marine Corps, maybe today I can't speak to that, but in the beginning that was a beatdown, right?
Yeah.
That was a beatdown.
Right.
But what that did was it produced probably some of the best Marines ever. And as we start to realize that you can use these fitness tools,
Yes.
to make the team better, to show people they can go dark in a way more safer environment than being like, I'm going to throw gasoline in this burn building and light it on fire to show them just how hard this could be.
Right.
We can do that without doing those things through fitness.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that the culture just in the last year and a half, sorry to stray too far from your question, but the culture
Not at all.
just in the last year and a half, I mean, it's growing rapidly and changing. And it's really cool because I noticed that generationally the change is being made. So like I would say that there is a very large separation between 35 and under and 35 and above in the fire service, depending, or 10 years of experience plus compared to 10 or under years
Less, yeah.
experience. There's just a different mindset, a different mentality of what it means to be a firefighter. A lot of the older generation is very, very more tactically driven, more proficiently driven, and that's great. Obviously, we have to have a fine balance of both, but they do seem to be less physically driven. So if we're able to tie those things together and promote both sides of those, you just get a way better product overall. And so.
Well, it's my job as a company officer to make you a good firefighter. It's the academy's job to teach you all the things,
Right.
how the things work and what they do and where they are, and to use in my opinion, because we started our own academy about 10 years ago now, maybe 10, somewhere around there. And PT in the beginning was, I don't know if the first time around we did it, but it got implemented very rapidly. And that program has just grown with, now we have people who went through the, kind of like you, who have 3 years on the job, are actually running the PT for the recruits because they're the most recent people to kind of go through it. And it just keeps improving.
Yeah.
And using it as that tool to make a better firefighter is tremendous, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then when you come to me on the line, it's my job to teach you the things like, we're really going into a house that's on fire now, not a burn building. Let me take the time to teach you these things as we do this together for your career.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Travis, have you been in a burn building yet? Have they got you geared up? And
not in a burn building, not in a full burn. They've put a pack on me. I think the next step is they got to put a tank on, have me go full bottle depletion, all this other stuff. But it's in the works. But no, I think that it's a big part of it.
It's good though, right? Because you 100%, because you want to kind of work in the industry and you're from the outside, which again traditionally is not well accepted in the fire service and the Marines and anything like that. But knowing that they're working on building you up to kind of see this is only going to make you and what you can do for the fire service better too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, and taking this.
That's if you want to do it. Do you want to do it?
Yeah, no, but it's one of those things where we're trying to get it to be as holistic of an approach as possible, but holistic doesn't mean easy. It means like we're going to utilize every strategy we can so that when we have a hard day or a couple hard days, well, we've prepped you in terms of getting you rested and ready to go, because we're not interested in having a firefighter last 3 years. We're interested in having a firefighter last 20 years. So if we want to do that, we need to be strategic and smart about how and what we implement and when.
Yeah.
And that's also teaching. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
Another huge thing that we definitely push a culture of, because you can sit here all day and say, oh, we have Travis, you know what I'm saying? Or we have a coach, we have a human performance, person who comes in and teaches us stuff. If that's how you're looking at it, unfortunately, you're already losing. You're already at a deficit. we are promoting people. We're showing you tips and tricks of the trade. That's what we're showing you. And it's on you, the individual firefighter, the individual person, to go out there and find your blueprint, build your blueprint. We're giving you steps in the right direction. We're giving you stretches. We're giving you workouts. We're giving you all kinds of knowledge on nutrition. We're leading stuff so that you know how to lead yourself when it becomes that time. But ultimately, just like any other teaching lesson, we're not going to be around forever. I can't follow you home. You know what I'm saying? I can't do the workout with you every time. So we want you to be able to do that on your own and have the knowledge to do that. That's the ultimate goal. We're not going to ultimately fix you. We're going to give you tools to fix yourself, you know?
And that's what I love. You keep using the line, build your blueprint. And like, I never really thought of it that way. Like, you have to build your blueprint for what works for you and be ready to change it for when your body tells you this is not working for you anymore, Pip. It's time to change your blueprint up a little bit or figure something new out. And that's like, I always said, like, the struggle is real, right? Like, when it comes to health and wellness, like, the struggle is totally real. And that's it. You just have to be able to adapt, and to teach someone that at a young age or a young part of their career is going to, because that too is the goal in this whole health and wellness industry when it comes to emergency services, is extending everyone's career and then life after their career.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
And I know, Travis, you want to throw my buddy our buddy Jay Dawes' fact out there because you typed it in the notes. So it's a scary one for me, but it is based off of his research, and it's true, right?
Yeah, and it was pretty concerning, and I hope it got everybody's attention when he released that paper. But Dr. Jay Dawes down at Oklahoma State University does a ton of research with tactical and fire and police and all that stuff. He released a paper saying the average firefighter dies between the ages of 45 and 55. So why is that? Well, I mean, a lot of it can be tied back to irregular sleep, poor nutrition, high stress environment, and the list goes on and on and on. And all those things have in common that they're controllable to a large degree outside of the irregular sleep and the high stress. Other than that, well, there's like 8 things that we can control. So now it's just a matter of, are you willing to put in the work and the time and the effort to control those things?
And again, controlling those things from Jay is not, you got to work out 7 days a week, is you have to go vegan and eat tofu every meal, and is not, right? It's these basic, simple changes that we can all make. Cut down on the soda. Like, that should actually be the title of this, is just cut down on the soda.
Cut down on the soda.
But, I'm going to be 46 this year. It's a scary fact that that study says that when you're in this age group. Like, it's just, I'm not going to lie, it's a scary fact for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, the number one thing that they're finding that is, and most of this comes from the military studies, because we just got out of a 20-year war, because we're America and we like to fight. But one of the number one things that is being researched and found is, when speaking in the conversation of suicide, the two larger factors that are involved in that is lack of sleep, which leads to hormone deregulation. That's it. Those 2 things alone. I mean, if you went without sleep for 7 days, you might go complete. I mean, your brain is going to melt. You know what I mean? And so, a lot of it has to do with, if you're not informed, you don't know what to change. But hopefully, with people who are listening to this, I just really would challenge you to, like, go start looking into this stuff, because if you do take your job serious, this is a huge part of the process. It's a lot of self-work. It's a lot of your own homework. A lot of us want the answers. You might have to go out and find the answers. You might have to go out and do a lot of the legwork on your own, but bringing those cortisol levels down that we spike through the roof in this job, bringing hormones back into balance so that you're not flying off the handlebars on the job or off the job, balancing the chemicals in your brain so that you don't go and do drugs or drink your ass off like most people in the industry do to cope with problems. We don't want to cope with problems in unhealthy ways. we're already living a pretty unhealthy lifestyle because of the sleep deprivation, because of the hard work on your body. So we need to help ourselves instead of shooting ourselves in the foot as much as we can, you know.
Mhm.
So well said too. Like that's it. That's the whole picture right there. Right? Is that we need to do what we can do to help ourselves in the best way possible. And it's so good when we talk about this. We talked about it at FDIC. The fact that this is out there and we can have these conversations amongst each other and folks are listening and we are seeing the change. I mean, do I wish it was happening faster? You know, do I wish our suicide rates were dropping? Do I wish people were going to a better work schedule? 100%. It's just that slow. It's just like making yourself better. It's just slow.
Yeah.
Slow process for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's turning that big ship.
It's typically not one big thing. It's a bunch of small things, you know. And if you look at it instead of, you know, this is the boulder that we have to chip away at, just one chip at a time. Before you know it, the boulder's cut in half, then it's a quarter, now it's nothing. Now it's very manageable. But if we look at it like, well, I have to change all of this at once, it's not going to happen probably. You know, it's a lot of small things that really bring that picture together. So
I love it, man. I think we're getting close to the hour mark, and I want to spend a little more time on the Size Up 10 because there's two of you, and this is going to be a problem. But I feel like that chipping away at the boulder really is a good way to kind of wrap this segment of you guys and me up, because I feel like there's going to be more of these because we vibe really well when it comes to these conversations, and you get me to admit to stuff that I haven't talked about in a very long time. So
this whole thing's an intervention.
But Travis, you know, just because.
Yeah. For your soda.
What do you got, Trav? Anything to wrap it up, Trav, real quick before we get into the Size Up 10?
Yeah, hit it.
Oh, no, you don't. I was going to say, do you want anything to throw out there real quick before we get into the questions?
Oh, no, just the biggest thing would be, you know, check out free content, dynamichp.net. You know, there's my podcast that I'm trying to do a better job of, not as good as the Size Up in terms of regularity, but the Rep by Rep Strength podcast. But there's a ton of resources. Like, this is not just me saying this kind of stuff. There's a ton of other experts in the industry that you should look into. And I mean, once you start down that rabbit hole, you'll start seeing who's good, who's not. So.
And most of them are good. I did check out your podcast, and I know some of the folks that have been on it, so it's pretty cool. But, you know, even when you're listening to someone out there that you're like, this dude, I don't know what he's got going on, you should still be able to find one positive, right? I always try to find one positive in what that person's saying, or one thing that's going to piggyback on Cavs again, to help me adjust my blueprint. You know what I mean? Because you need to hear those different singing opinions and those different ideas and those newer ideas. And who knows, man? The next thing you know, you're doing Diamond Dallas Page yoga because it's going to make you feel better, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny. I don't even know why that popped into my head, but I know some people that swear by that yoga workout. And I'm like, good for you, man. That's it, man. You're out there, you're doing it, right? Get it.
Yeah. Figure out your blueprint. That's it. You know?
That's it. Such a win. All right, man. Well, let's get into these 10 questions because this is probably going to take forever. Like, this is going to be longer than the whole episode. I could just feel it. And it's funny, at FDIC, I made a specific 10 for FDIC, and I don't know if when you guys came to the booth or not, but I was already up to like using my phone to record things, and it totally went off the rails, and I didn't get to ask any of those ones. So I'm saving it for next year. We'll go with the traditional one now. So I don't know, because there's two of you. So Travis, beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Cav?
It depends on what there is to look out on the beach.
Coming from guys that are landlocked, I totally get those answers.
Mountains, for sure.
What do you think? What do you think, Travis? A night out or a night in?
Oh man, it depends on who I'm with, but I'll go with night out. Night out.
Nice. Cav, where you at? There, young man.
For sure.
Night in.
Yeah.
The not so young man, I should say.
Yeah.
You aged yourself by giving all your life experience, by the way, like of your jobs and such.
Yeah. No, I know. I do that.
It's okay. There's a lot of old man rookies in the fire service these days. So it's a common trend these days is later in life people getting into this industry for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Cav, we'll start with you on this one. Give me a movie everybody has to see.
Interstellar.
Oh, okay. I'm not a
Matthew
big fan. I've seen it,
McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey all day. Yeah.
I mean, I like Matthew McConaughey. It's not one of my favorite movies. So, Travis, what do you got?
The Big Lebowski.
Dude, man, that's one of my all-time favorites right there. All-time favorite by far. Cav, if you're on a cross-country road trip, who is your celebrity co-pilot going to be, living or dead? This show is deep, man. This isn't the Rep by Rep podcast. We get into the deep stuff here.
Mary Ann from Gilligan's Island.
Best answer ever.
Yeah, for sure.
Travis, how are you going to follow that up, Travis? Because I'm not even asking any more questions about that, Cav. I'm going right to Travis.
Who's your celebrity co-pilot? Some Marianne. All right. I don't know, man. Abraham Lincoln. I have no idea.
Sure, why not?
Sure,
Listen, I
Abe
believe
Lincoln.
you're the second. I believe you're the second Abe Lincoln person, actually. So there you go, man. He's a popular guy. He's not Mary.
The Marianne
from
thing threw me
Gilligan's
off.
Island.
Like
Oh, Travis, do you make your bed every day?
no.
Cav, I know you do, right?
Nope.
No? All that
Well,
stuff you've been
I definitely try. Yep, but
all
it's-
that stuff you've been touting for an hour now, and you're like, no, don't do it.
Yeah.
My gosh. The things we find out during the Size Up
The
10.
things
That's
we
all. I'm
find
going
out.
to move on to that. Travis, give me a book everybody has to read.
Ooh. Oh man. Let's go with Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Okay, I have that one. Very good. Cav,
Dichotomy of Leadership by Jocko.
I have that one as well. Very
Yeah.
good. It's interesting, more guests have been picking different Jocko books, and I always find it interesting like that you get something from Dichotomy and other people get things from his other books. So it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, Jocko's solid.
For sure. He's definitely a bit of a celebrity podcaster, let's say that.
Yeah.
It's just getting after it.
That's all right.
I would like, if I could get Echo Charles to be my Seb, kind of like he's Jocko's Seb, like it was cool. So I took one of their leadership programs, and actually hanging out and talking to Echo was probably like one of the best times that I had there.
Yeah.
Like just some of the things that we were talking about were great. So
Nice.
shout out to Echo Charles. Who we got here? Cav, which one are you taking, highways or back roads?
I guess it depends on how far I'm going. Probably highways.
Travis?
I'm taking back roads.
So this question tells you a lot about folks. Like they want to get to where they're going, or they want to just kind of chill and not. So
Yeah.
Travis, give me a bucket list place to visit.
I don't know, man. I'd say Yellowstone. Yellowstone was awesome to visit when we moved up to Washington. So Yellowstone.
On my list. Cav, what do you got?
Yukon Territory, Canada.
Okay, there's another new one. Second person to say Canada, though. So
Yeah.
some love for the Canadians.
Well,
out
you
there.
go far enough north, and there's nobody up there, so that's where I try and get away from the politics.
So you
and
take
go straight into the woods.
You'll take the highway to get there, and then you'll
Yes,
jump on the
you do.
back roads while
Yeah.
you're there, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right, I don't care who answers this one first. So football or football?
Football.
Rugby.
Rugby. I'm
Football.
in. I'll take it. I'll take both answers. Rugby. I'm a fan of rugby. My driver on the ladder truck is a rugby guy. So my
Nice.
brother-in-law runs a whole program. So I've learned way more about rugby recently, and it's definitely a lot of fun. Sevens is the way to go. I like watching sevens.
Yes, sevens is fun. Yes.
All right, last question. Travis, the best piece of advice you could give to your younger self?
Probably be slow down.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that at all. We could all use that again now in our lives, probably, like we talked about before with burning the candle at all the ends, right? Cav, what do you got? Don't enlist.
Yeah. It gets better.
That's a good one. That's another good one too, right? Because you can never see that other side of it, right?
Yeah.
If you had the chance to go back and just say that, you're still going to probably make the same decisions. You're still going to enlist. You're still going to do all those things. You just have to know that at its hardest time, it's still going to get better.
It gets better. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, guys, I'm so stoked that we got to hook up at FDIC and talk a little bit there, and then kind of rekindle this thing we have going on here, this strange bromance of fun. But anything else before we sign off that we didn't really plug or skip or anything?
No, I think this was great.
Thank you for the opportunity to meet you, and
yeah, let's do this again sometime. This is fun.
For sure. We definitely will. Well, listen, man, I can't thank the guys from Dynamic Human Performance enough, Travis and Cav out there. Can't thank all you guys enough for listening. Obviously, thank you to all the sponsors like I do every week. And until next time, this is Pip for the Size Up by National Fire Radio, where what you do off the job matters.
National Fire Radio.